Today we're going to talk about, we're going to have Google tools and tips for business and personal. And we have Mary Raphael George, which is a certified Google trainer. So without further ado, I will pass it on to Mary. And Mary, you're in mute. I'm just going to unmute you. You're muted. Oh, there you go.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Malu, and thank you everyone for joining on this summer day. Hopefully you'll find something of value. I also put my Twitter handle in the chat. It's at MaryRay27, and my email address, maryrayhay@gmail.com. And also you can find me on LinkedIn should you want to connect, Mary Raphael George. Okay. So a little bit about myself. Well, I'm an educator and I've been teaching for about 15 years and all different levels, working in Stanford and a few different places in Fairfield County, Westchester County. And I'm also a Google certified trainer, which means that I've gone through several different trainings in order to get that certification. So I'm happy just to share what I can with you. And again, if you have other questions at the end, let me know. But as far as just like a pre-assessment kind of question, I'm kind of curious to know about like everyone who signed on to this and your level or comfort with Google. So if you want to unmute or write something in the chat, or if you have your video on and you feel pretty comfortable, you know, kind of give me a thumbs up, just so I can kind of see what's going on there.
Hi, are you talking about Google, the search engine, or Google Docs, Google, you know, Pages?
Yeah, it would be the Google apps such as Google Docs, Google Drive, Gmail, anything a part of the Google suite, you know, the little applications that go beyond a Google search, primarily those. So if you feel comfortable, kind of give me a thumbs up just so I can kind of see.
Mm-hmm. So we have the people, okay.
I've had little a long curve trying to figure out Google Hangouts and Google Voice, if that's even supported anymore.
It is, yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. And Google Hangouts kind of has pretty much evolved into Google Meet, although Hangouts still does exist. We're not going to cover that today. Today we're going to look at some of the different features in Docs, in Sheets, in Slide, and a little bit in Drive. Pretty much because we're only keeping it to 20 minutes. And of course, we could talk about those for hours. But again,
oh, you're muted, Mary. Just got to unmute yourself.
Okay,
yeah.
Got it. So again, feel free to put any questions in the chat. Email me after if you'd like something. I could share with you different presentations that I prepared of things we're going to go over for today. So hopefully you'll be able to get something out of this. So I'm going to show you, I have listed, I'm going to start sharing my screen right now. Okay, so right here I have actually two windows open so I can see what's going on. So that is like just one little feature that comes in very handy too. So if you ever needed to do that on Google Chrome web browser, the three little dots in the corner can get you to that new window so you could have two things open. But I'm going to take a look at our agenda for today. Okay, so again, just kind of told you a little bit about myself. If you need to reach me or if you have questions, feel free, reach out. In Docs, I'd like to share with you how to share and create a table of contents. So that can be very valuable if you have a long document. And again, if you're using Microsoft Word to create these long documents for presentations, for manuals, perhaps you want to consider trying Google Docs, or if you already have that particular Microsoft Word doc, you can upload that to Drive and then just convert it to Docs and create a table of contents in it. So I'm going to show you how to do that, and we'll just start there. Okay. So what it will look like at the end, the table of contents is something like this at the top, these blue links. And it's super simple just to copy those and paste those into an email or anything. For example, if you just wanted somebody to go directly to that area of your document. So for the sample table of contents, I have a Google Doc open. Okay, so it's just a plain Google Doc. You can go to docs.google.com to have it open up. And I just, again, we could imagine that this is a 20-page long document, and some of the headings, you know, agenda, goal, objectives, plan of action, conclusion. So you would want to, you know, have those items already typed out and ready. And the first thing, so there's two ways you can do this. You can highlight the text. You can go over to Format, Paragraph Styles, Heading 1, and then apply that Heading 1 to it. Now, another way to do that is to highlight it and select here to Heading 1. Okay. So two different ways, clicking here, Heading 1, or going to Format, Paragraph Styles, Heading 1. The font really doesn't matter too much. It's still being applied. And there's that Heading 1. Okay, so, well, that is done. Heading 1 is applied. Now I'm going to make a little space at the top where I would want the table of contents to go. And you just have to click on Insert. And we would, oh, this looks like it's already remembers that I had one before, so yours should be bolded, whereas mine wasn't. And then there's your table of contents. Now, if I wanted to further elaborate on my table of contents, and maybe I had several different goals. Maybe I had a simple goal, I had a complex goal, I had an advanced goal. And I would highlight simple. I can go to Heading 2 for that one. Complex, Heading 2, and advanced, Heading 2. Go back up here where I inserted that table of contents, and then as you could see, they just keep on adding to it. So the purpose of this, if I just wanted to, instead of scrolling down, where is the conclusion in this really long document, I can just click on conclusion, click on that hyperlink, and then I go directly to that part of the document. Okay, so again, I'm happy to you know, talk to anybody about this later on towards the end, but I just want to kind of keep on moving because I want to show you Sheets as well, quite a few things. So in Sheets, I just created this document. I just put a whole bunch of people's names. I put, you know, different invoices and dragged that across. And I just made up some numbers and, you know, copied those across. I want to show you the different functions of sum, average, min, max, count, and count if, and to see if maybe some of those can be helpful to you in your business or personal life. And as you notice, the column isn't moving, that column A. And as you notice here, the first two rows aren't moving, even as I scroll down. So again, that is a feature that I use so much, and I see it in other people's shared sheets that they share with me or people I know. And I see that if you do use that and freeze those rows and columns, it could be very helpful to the people you're working with. So those names would stay put. So you don't have to scroll and see. So how do we do that? Well, if you just simply go to View and freeze, you can freeze a column or two columns if that's applicable, and you can freeze one row or two. So that is how I got that to do that. Or you could freeze up to a current row if you want a big chunk of them to stay. So that is worth exploring again, so you can do that. But if we were to look at these formulas, so in order to get the formula, you might want to make a total row or an answer row. So you want to name that. And after you've named it, you would want to start by putting an equal sign The equal sign activates all these functions. So whether it's equals sum, equals average, equals min, equals max, equals count, or equals count if, the equal sign is required. So in order to get the sum, equals sum, and then I selected the range. This range goes from B3, that's cell B3, through B16. And even if I added, if I 2 fingers down and I inserted a row above, and we had a new person to join the class or the group that I'm working with in this particular business, and that number was going to be 76, as you could see, my sum was automatically increased. You just always maybe want to check that your range is still within the appropriate numbers there, okay? So again, we could add an invoice 2 if you forgot to add somebody there. And as you can see, even the average of these numbers would then automatically change. The minimum function, what that shows you, I'm going to put down 6. 6 is now the minimum number. It's the lowest number on invoice number 3. So again, imagine 500 numbers in one column, and you just want to know, well, what was the lowest figure that day, or what was the lowest invoice I had? What was the lowest grade? If you put down equals min, that will automatically tell you 6 was the lowest grade. Now, max will show you the highest grade or the highest number, the highest figure. So for this one, let's say somebody got a 200 on their test or the invoice. So that would be equals max within that range, which gives you the highest. Count would tell you how many numbers are in that row. So this tells you now that there are 15 entries. And that would make sense since we're on row 17 and I froze the first 2 rows. So they're counting how many entries are in. Okay, do we have a little chat that I need to see there? Let's see. Okay, okay. We're not going to be doing Google Classroom today. Maybe we have a couple minutes to talk about some of these things, such as Slack, Task, Google Classroom towards the end.
Mary, and oh, sorry, Mary, I've been answering questions already.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Don't worry.
Great. Okay. So just wanted to take a quick pause just in case something related to Sheets. These are all good things that people are commenting on to know about what people have interest in. So thanks for sharing that.
There are a couple of pending questions, and let me know when you're ready to so I can go ahead and ask them.
Okay, if you think it's appropriate now, sure.
So the first question is a really brutally basic question, and for those of us who are really new at using Google Docs and Sheets, how do we get there and how do we access that?
Okay, so Google usually provides a few different ways to get to the same thing, to do the same thing. So to get to Google Docs, you can go to a Google Chrome browser and you could type in, or any Chrome or any browser, docs.google.com. However, if you're using Microsoft Internet Explorer, you're using Firefox, you may run into some compatibility issues, okay? So you can just, again, type in docs.google.com to get where you need to get to these places, sheets.google.com, slides.google.com. Another way is once you're already signed in, like I'm signed into my Google account here, for example, my Gmail, signed into Chrome, this is a Chromebook, you can click on these Google apps, these little waffles in the corner, and you could also get to these places this way. You can select Docs directly, you can select Sheets. Another way is through Drive. So if I actually clicked on Drive, you can create a new, and it's loading, should follow right under here. I have a few different things going on. So. Okay, you can create a new doc, sheets, or slides that way. So those are just 3 ways right there. Again, typing in docs.google.com, or slides or sheets.google.com, or drive.google.com. That's pretty much what I do.
or you could go to those little waffle squares once you are signed in, or you could go directly to Drive and create a new one that way. So those are 3 ways right there.
So do you need to have a Gmail address then to be able to use the tools, doc sheets? Okay.
You have to have a Google account.
Okay, that's great. And then another question, and then I will unmute attendees so that they can ask questions. But another question we got is another question about sharing is how to work as a group and how to collaborate. I don't know if you can show us maybe a Google document, and then how do we collaborate?
Sure. So as you could see here in, my little, overview agenda, I shared this. I clicked on the share button in the upper right corner. It's blue. And I shared that with Malu's address so that she had a copy of it. And I allowed her to be a viewer of it. So if I wanted to add, let's say my son to this, I could put his email in there, and I could allow him to also be a viewer of this if I wanted to send that to him. If you'd like to collaborate with somebody, you would give them editing privileges. Okay? So, and another option is to give someone commenting privileges. It allows them to see it. It allows them to write comments in the side. If you have created a reference document, for example, I don't know if I would necessarily give someone commenting features unless you want those comments to be shared with the group. But sometimes it is good if you are looking for feedback. But if you're not so much looking for feedback and you've created like a manual or something, maybe you just want to give those viewing privileges. Editor privileges, you want to be careful because you could essentially lose your work, but there is always the document recovery that you can get through revision history. So again, you click the share button.
This is Cynthia. Can you incorporate the comments and then move it forward, or?
Yeah, you can. You could delete and resolve the comments if someone makes them, but just to know that those would be appearing. So that's just going to be your decision if you wanted those comments to appear on there. If you don't want comments to appear on there, I would just put them as viewers. Viewers is a very safe way to be for documents, and people can also, with pretty much any Google Doc, just make a copy of it there. So if they needed to make editor changes and they weren't given those rights, they could always make a copy, make their own copy, and then become the editor.
And we have another question from Scarlett. I mean, can someone start in Word and then just transfer that and copy it into Docs? Is that possible?
Sure. We'll kind of pause where I was with Sheets right now, and since I have Drive opened as well. So you have to have Drive open, and to convert that Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, Microsoft PowerPoint into a Google Collaborative Doc, what you would need to do is upload it. So you go to New, and you would go to File Upload if you're looking for one particular file. But if you wanted to get like your whole entire hard drive and put it on the cloud, so let's say it's your work computer, and you used to be going into the building every day, now you're not. You want to get all those files that you have saved there for 10 years on that one desktop computer and let it be accessible in the drive. You would do a folder upload, and you would take that whole entire network drive and upload that folder. Before you would do something like that, you would probably want to check the settings on your Google Drive and make sure that the convert uploads is checked, so that you don't have to individually convert every single Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint document before you use it. I'm not sure if I have a Microsoft Word document on this particular Chromebook, but if I wanted to go to File Upload, here's a Word document, I see it here. Student employment. So this is a Word document, as you can see the little tiny icon. As compared to, I don't have a Google Doc there, but this is a Word document that was from the university, and they had that, and I had just uploaded that Microsoft Word document to my Google Drive, and now it's a Google Doc. So when I click on that, even though the university created it in Microsoft Word, I was able to upload it to my drive, so then I can now edit it. And then I could share that. Now I own it because I uploaded it to my drive.
You have to change the restrictions on it too, if you want to share that link kind of with anybody. Yeah. Okay, did we have another comment? Was that what that was?
There was another question about, again, about docs, sheets, and slides. Then just to confirm, docs is the equivalent to Microsoft Word. Sheets is the equivalent to Microsoft Excel, and slides is the equivalent to Microsoft PowerPoint, correct?
Yeah, they could be comparable to those. I don't know equivalent, but comparable, yes. You know, different ones are going to have different features, you know, especially if you're using Microsoft 365 versus using like an older version of Office.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and I'm just going to unmute anyone. You can unmute yourself if you have any questions.
I have a quick question. Oftentimes I've been asked to create, I don't know if it should be a spreadsheet or a document in Google and I don't know if it should be a collaborative option, to have people put in their input for availability. So it's like you're asking a group of people, these are our choices, which one do you want, which date and time? So how would you do that?
I might also consider Google Calendar and creating a public calendar for that.
How do you do that?
Well, that would be going to, again, calendar.google.com or these little squares and going to calendar that way. I would look into exploring and creating a public calendar, perhaps a view only, where, you know, you can publish and show where you're available, where you're busy. And then people could request an appointment at that time. If you are just kind of sharing a Google Sheet with availability, it is very easy for someone to accidentally delete something. And I don't feel that that's, you know, protected enough. So I would look into calendar.
Yeah, no, it's for like, maybe I didn't explain it right. It's for a group of people. Let's say we're going to go on an excursion and we're picking 3 time slots. You give all the details of where we're going, and then these are the 3 trains we can pick. Which one do you want? Okay. And then there's like 50 people.
Right. Okay.
But you would do it through calendar?
I guess maybe not calendar for that one. You know, I think I have to think about that to give you the best option, maybe to hear a little bit more. I mean, I'm sure there is, you know what would be good? A Google form, I think, for that.
Yeah,
if you
that's
created a Google form and you said, because, you know, you just don't want anyone to accidentally delete something, because we're not always checking the revision history of these items. So yeah, a form, and you create either, you know, you can select one, you could select multiple checkboxes, you know, depending on what you want to give, and then you can see the results in a Google Sheet, and that would be protected.
Right. Okay. Is there a place I can go and look to learn how to create a form?
Yeah, I mean, Google's help, you know, so if you just did a regular Google search for forms, Google help.
Google help.
And you'll see where this is coming from, support.google.com. So that could be helpful to you. I've done my own trainings for a school district in New York on how to use Google Forms, whether it's for quizzes or for creating surveys. So, you know, if you wanted to talk to me about that at another point in time, I'm happy to talk to you about that further.
I'd love it. Thank you.
Great.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
On my iPhone, I have a hard time sometimes with the layout of my emails in Gmail. Like, it's hard for me to see the thread or the full email. Does anybody know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, like you have to click those little 3 dots at the bottom.
Yeah, and it doesn't always seem to make sense or show the right ones, or I don't know.
Do you have the Gmail app, or are you just going to the website?
This is do I have the app on my phone? It's just coming into my email.
Okay, so it's coming on your iPhone directly to your Apple. You added the account there.
Correct.
Maybe another option is to add the Gmail app.
I'm glad I asked. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Right. Do we have any more questions?
Okay, I guess I could continue on then. All right, so, well, I guess since we were in Drive, another thing that I think is really valuable, and it's the last thing in Drive, unless somebody has a specific question, is uploading a PDF. So sometimes when you send PDFs to a person as an attachment, they have to download it. Depending on their computer system and their experience, maybe they can't then find it. Where did it get downloaded to if it didn't pop up at the bottom? And so another option for sending someone a PDF or any file, for example, is to upload it to Drive. So let's say file upload. I'm going to find a PDF that I had saved on my hard drive here. Okay, and there it is, my class schedule. My son's ever-changing class schedule. Okay, so this, I printed the screen, which created a PDF, but it could be anything. It could be a signed contract that you scanned and have, you know, that you uploaded now because you had the scanned document of it and you uploaded that PDF. But maybe I want to share this with my dad, and maybe it gets confusing for him with downloading the PDF and opening it. So if you want to be 100%, the PDF is right here. If you clicked on the little 3 dots on the right corner and you go to share, once it's uploaded, you can get the link. So you can copy that link and put that directly into a Gmail. So you could send it to yourself, and this would be PDF of, or PDF link of schedule. And then the person would just click on that. And if I wanted to just emphasize that link even more, I could too. Okay, so that's a PDF and how you could link that. Again, whether it's a contract, you know, maybe it's an artwork that you scanned, maybe it's just a print screen and you just wanted the direct link for it. There you go. Okay, so getting back to sheets, we looked at the formulas, we looked at the freezing of the rows. You could insert rows. Okay, you can insert a column to the left, column to the right if we needed. I had certain things bolded, so if I select column A, that's unbolded, now it's bolded. Italicize the same way. If I wanted to merge cells, I could take all of these down here and I would go to Format, Merge, could merge all. Oh, we don't want to do that. Let's say if I wanted to, merging's a little confusing. So if I wanted to get this bottles and corks, and I went to Format, Merge, and then I could merge horizontally. You can't, oh, I can't, oh, I'm just running into merging. I don't know, I'm trying to think of a way we could show you merging better. We'll skip that one for now. Maybe I'll get a better idea. But for text wrapping, if instead of invoice 1, this was invoice 1, which had many issues. But you can't really see what's there. This is where you need text wrapping. So in order to get that, we're going to select that row, and then we're going to go to Format, Text Wrapping, Wrap. Okay. And sometimes if you need to wrap the whole thing, because a lot of, you know, text can't be seen, you could just select this little button in the corner to select the whole thing and format and text wrap everything. Okay, so you could make sure everything's seen clearly. Okay. Okay.
We can't see your screen. Oh, now we can. Okay.
So And borders, fill color. In order to see this better, I have to make this bigger so you could see more options here. I have this pink. I could make this blue. That's the paint can, the little fill color, again for emphasis. And the border. So if I needed to make a border around the word total, it's going to be this little square. And again, hovering over is very helpful. You can make the border that way. You can change the border color and the different style too. Okay. So those are just some fun little things. But let's transition. We have about 20 minutes left. And I'm thinking now we're going to go into slides. So, of course, in order to show some of these things, I had to make a little slides. So some of the things we'll go over. I'll present the slide deck so you can kind of see. Oh, that's the last one. I must have had it on there. Okay, so start at the top here and we present. Okay, so I just used one of their themes. And I changed the font on those. So this is one of the features in slides where you can arrange different images. So I have one image. This was actually created in Google Drawings, which is another Google tool. So this Google Drawings, you can save it as an image, which is pretty cool. This is just a shape, which is in a lot of the different Google apps that you could just add there. You could add shapes to drawings. You could add shapes to Google Slides. And this is the HAYVN halftime image logo. So when you arrange the order, this circle is behind both of those. When you click on order, you would send this circle to the back if you wanted these up in the front, and you would bring these to the front. So you click on the image and then order, and I'll show you that in a little bit, just kind of giving an overview of what this slide deck is going to go over. To group and ungroup images. So all three of these images will be grouped together so that one doesn't disappear from the other, fall off the page, and you can size them accordingly too. You can, I like this feature a lot, you can crop different images. You know, you can make it a heart, a triangle, any different shape. Again, just to kind of add some different flair to things, stick out, or you could add a border to it. And of course you could rotate it. I also liked this reflection formatting option. So you had your, you know, these are just three of those shapes that Google Slides had there. So I picked the three shapes. I put a different color in for each of them. I gave them some borders with some stronger borders. And then I went to the format and found those different format options for reflection, just again, to kind of give it a little something. And you could animate objects too. For the soccer ball, I think it's really cool and that you can make it spin. So again, you can make different objects animate to do different things. Again, just to add some spice to different things. So how did we do that? And again, you would add your three images or shapes. And then for this HAYVN halftime one, I would go to arrange, order, and I could send that to the back. And then as you could see, that circle then goes over it. So again, it's for designing things. So click back on HAYVN halftime, arrange, order, bring to front. For the group, ungroup, you would select, so you have your three images there. And as you could see, these three are all grouped together, which is why they are getting bigger, they're moving. I can make them all smaller together, and then I could just move them where I want those three. But I could even ungroup them the same exact way. So again, under arrange, and I would ungroup them. Click on them, arrange, okay, group. Oh, this one is not letting me ungroup now. Control key. Okay. Oh, just have to kind of play with it a little bit. So now these are all three separate ones. So I have the grid lines kind of helping me, but if you wanted to kind of keep them in a certain way to all together for whatever reason, just as an option for you. This is another one of those shapes. And you could write in the shapes, which is nice too. So I could have written in that circle too. So you would select the image, press your control key on the keyboard, select the other images, go to arrange, and then go to group. And then now they move as a group. And you could resize them as a group too. Okay. So how I got this one to be in this circle shape is by this. It kind of looks like a candy, but again, if you hover over it, and there's that little down arrow next to it, and I can make it a heart. So this could happen with any image, that you could crop it, and you could even change the border color around it. I added the border color right next to it. The border weight is pretty heavy, 12 point. You could make it dotted. Okay, but that was under this little, so again, selecting the image, the down arrow next to the crop, where you could add that shape into your own image. And again, to rotate it, you could just take the little top and put that to the side, little top circle, or you can select the object, go to arrange, and rotate it that way as well. Okay, and always to undo, in case you made a mistake, you could always click that little undo arrow. And how to get this reflection. So all of these, if you clicked on the image, you went to format, format options, and the reflection is check marked. So if I wanted to even show you how I did that, take that away, that star away. I'm going to create a new shape. I will create maybe, we'll make a nice little sunshine here. Okay. So with that sun, again, you can change the color of it, make orange sun, and then I can go to format, format options, check mark the reflection, and you see a little reflection on there. Again, just another way to kind of add some pizzazz to different, and these are, you know, super little free shapes just directly in there that, you know, you can write it. You could make that bigger. You could align it center, bold it, change the color of it, do so many different things. Okay.
Mary, I was just gonna jump in. I know it's 12:50, so just in the interest of time, if we could just spend the last few minutes just going back to Drive. Someone asked a question about, she says, can I create a way for my virtual assistant to create on my account, so to create on my Google account, but not let her see all, such as my accounting and emails?
So you want to give her access to your entire Google Drive or accept certain things?
Yes, and Scarlett, feel free to jump in and unmute yourself so you can clarify.
So in other words, if I wanted her to, let's say, take my book from my Word and do the process of putting it on Google, let her do that, but not let her see my emails, or I don't want her to see everything.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you could definitely just share all those items with her. I think that could be a little tricky. I mean, I could look into that for you, but as far as I know, it's kind of, you know, an entire package. So, I mean, there's certain ways, like let's say for a Google Sheet where you can, you know, even restrict certain columns. You can protect certain columns, you can protect certain cells that nobody touches those. But as far as like, you know, everything except Gmail, I'm not so sure of for doing that. So
I don't know if I'd want her reading my email. I don't know if she would do that. I'm just, you know.
I would just say you're probably safer to just share individually those documents with her so that they go into her drive. Another thing maybe to explore is to create a team drive on your Google Docs and maybe a folder in there, and you could share everything in that particular folder or that team drive with her.
Okay. Thank you.
Great. Do we have any other final questions?
Mary, would you mind quickly explaining G Suite? Because I think someone mentioned G Suite, and I'm actually kind of curious about it as well.
Okay. So, you know, G Suite involves many different apps. So the Google Suite, again, you could see what is in Drive. And the terms of service, let me make sure I get this right.
Because, you know, YouTube is not in the G Suite. Okay, there it is. Well, this is one, but I think this is a better. Gmail, Docs, Drive, Calendar, Meet. It's just like an interconnected system that, you know, all of those are in your same Google account. So, you know, this is my work one. So my G Suite for work is going to have my G Suite calendar, my G Suite Gmail, Drive, even my Chrome bookmarks, docs, sites. These are all from there. I guess just like the terms of service for, you know, Classroom is, I don't think Classroom is in the G Suite because you have to have an education account for that. I did teach a class, the key features of G Suite. So right here, G Suite comprises Gmail, Hangouts, Calendar, and Currents for communication, Drive for storage, Docs, Sheets, Slides, Keep, Forms, and Sites for productivity. And here we go, depending on the plan, an admin panel and Vault for managing users and services. So again, I think it kind of depends if you have G Suite for business, G Suite for education, onto what additional features, you know, are associated with that.
Thank you.
Thank you. So if those are all the questions, I think we're pretty much on time here. If are there any closing comments that you have, Mary?
Yeah, just, you know, the last thing on the slides I wanted to make sure that you knew how to do is how to animate that soccer ball or any image to animate. So again, you find, you know, whatever image, whether you're inserting your own or finding one from Google. And once you select that image, you can go to insert and then animate. And again, you can make it spin, and that is like the last one. So it's like at the bottom. So it's a little bit, you have to kind of bring it up a little bit, but that is the spin one. So then you could play it just to add these different features. But again, kind of cool to, you know, just jazz things up a little bit. So those are just a couple little features. Of course, there's so much more in it. These were just kind of like touching the surface on some of those things.
Great. And Mary, thank you so much. If there, how should people contact you if they just want to reach out and just find out more about what you do? Where should they reach out to you?
Yeah, they could find me on Twitter, MaryRay27, or LinkedIn, Mary Raphael George, or email me, maryrayhay@gmail.com. You know, any of those ways are fine. You know, if you'd like to see the slide deck that I had, I'm happy to share that with you. Feel free to request it, or my agenda with, you know, the table of contents and different of the Google tips there.
Okay, sounds great. So if there are not other questions, then I think this is it for today. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Thank you so much, Mary, and have a nice week.